Caroline, do you know if we're waiting on any other committee members?
I don't think so. I think the
Okay.
6 to 7 time was problematic for those that had toddlers and some other things going on in their lives. But we are going to record this session. We have had some requests for folks to view it afterwards from our program planning committee. So I hope that that's okay with everyone, and look forward to being able to share what you have to say with the other committee members later. And I think we could probably go ahead and get started,
Okay.
Mary.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate, especially coming in on an evening time with so much going on in our country and in our community. So thank you again. And we're just really excited to have the guests that we have here tonight. You know, with program planning, the ultimate purpose of this committee is the development of programming for Buncombe Partnership for Children. And part of that process is, you know, really being able to dive into community needs assessments and looking at data and getting feedback on current program performance, but really looking at needs in the community and identifying if there are gaps and needs that need to be addressed that, you know, that we're missing at this point in time. And I'll start by saying my name is Mary Arnold. I'm the chair of the committee, and I'm a board member for Buncombe Partnership for Children. I work as the program operations manager for Community Action Opportunities Head Start. Just a little bit about me. And we do have an aggressive agenda, ambitious one. So I don't want to take up too much time other than to say thank you. We are so grateful for you to come and share your perspective to help inform our decision making as we move through this year and beyond. And, you know, workforce development and workforce is a hot topic in the community, not only with early childhood providers, but just at the community at large. It's been said that you're the workforce behind the workforce, and definitely essential to having a healthy community. So we certainly want to explore how we can support the expansion of workforce, which is just essential to be able to meet the ever-growing need for early childhood in our community. And that recruitment, retention, development is critical. So we are very grateful to hear from you directly today and answering this request to be here. So we are very fortunate to have students from AB Tech and teachers from Head Start and students in the Peace program, as well as being joined by faculty, Jennifer Bosworth from AB Tech and Dr. Maura Davis from Warren Wilson. Caroline, did you have any words to say before we get started to ground us in what our meeting is about tonight?
I think you pretty much covered it, Mary. We
Okay.
are here to learn from the participants, and we do have a few questions for everyone. I don't know if, before we get started, if folks have seen in the chat, if you'll please add your name in the chat so we can take attendance. I've added the agenda in the chat. I will add it again for those of you who just joined. And we really want to learn from you tonight. So Mary, do you want to kick off the first part, or would you like me to ask the first round of questions?
Why don't you do the first round and I'll pick up the next.
Okay. So we do have a lot of questions tonight for all of you. And the first round are just introduction questions. So we want you to tell us just your name, and if you're currently working in the early childhood field now, how long you've been in school, if you are in school, what are your career aspirations, and then where do you see yourself in 10 years? So it's a lot to think about, but I'm going to just go through the names in the agenda, and I'm going to call on you. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and try to answer those questions for us. So Nakoma, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Hi, I'm Nehoma. It's got a, like you're kind of clearing your throat. It's Hebrew. I currently am working in a mixed age kindergarten program. And I just this summer finished a 3.5-year program in Waldorf Early Childhood Education and also began at AB Tech. This is my second semester at AB Tech. My aspirations are to teach mixed age kindergarten long term. I'm interested in working in charter schools instead of private because I'm interested in bringing quality holistic education to children without having to charge their families money. And that's where I see myself in 10 years. Although my school did move entirely outdoors this year and became a forest school in order to be able to meet in person and not have to have as many, not have to be trying to be distant and all these things. And I've actually been loving it. And I know that some people work like outdoors like all the time. And I like it a lot. So that's me.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, how about Stephanie?
Hi, I'm Stephanie. So I am currently working in the EC field right now. I am currently a lead teacher for a 3-year-old class. About 2 weeks ago, I actually started in my class. Before that, I was helping another lead teacher as her assistant teacher in a kindergarten room. So they were going to Buncombe County schools, but they were coming to us and we were helping them like with their Zooms and their seesaw activities. So I did that for a while, and then my center started having new kids enroll, so I was able to get my own classroom back. So this is actually my first week doing that. So it's been fun so far. I love the kids. I mean, they're great. So I'm blessed to be doing that again. My career aspirations, I really love just like the 3-year-old age range. I mean, I'm open to working with any age kids. I just, as long as, I'm able to impact their lives, that's what makes me happy. And then in 10 years, I don't know, I've thought about doing kindergarten, first grade, which is definitely still in my mind, but I really do like the 3, 4-year-olds. Something about the young kids just touches my heart. And then, sorry, I missed a question. I have been in school. This is going on my 3rd year, and I will be done in December. So about 2.5 years going on my 3rd year, but I won't complete a whole year. But yeah, it's been great.
Congratulations. That's a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. How about Zach?
Sorry, I was just reviewing the questions. So my name is Zach. I am currently working in a 3-year-old classroom in the ECE field. I go to AB Tech, and I have been there for the past 3 semesters. My career aspirations right now are a little bit up in the air, and I'm trying to find my way. I studied adventure education and got a bachelor's of science in adventure education in 2017. And I worked in that field, and I worked in the woods for 2 years before realizing that I wanted to take more of a traditional education approach. So with that and thinking about my 10 years, it's hard to say at this moment. I love the 3-year-olds, but also be curious to see what it would be like to work with kindergarten or an early elementary school as well. Did I get all the questions?
Yeah, you hit on all of them. That was great. All right. How about Sandra?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Lovelace. I just got married, so I am this is going on my 2nd year at AB Tech. I am studying early childhood education. I will be finishing this upcoming semester, and then I'll be transferring over to UNCG to get my BK. I previously attended East Carolina University, and I have a degree in social work. So that was where I kind of started out at. My career aspirations, I do want to start an in-home childcare facility, and I'm kind of in the middle of doing that now. I was the lead infant toddler teacher at Valley Child Development Center for the last 3.5 years. I ran a teen parent program in conjunction with community high school. And so due to COVID-19, both of my children have a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. They're high risk. So I've had to step away, which has been heartbreaking for me. And in the process of doing that, I've been exploring, trying to open an in-home and those parameters and everything like that. In the next 10 years, I'm not sure where I'll be. We're originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. We're exploring going back or staying. So that's kind of up in the air right now, but I do still see myself in early childhood education, offering quality, affordable childcare to whatever community I am in. And I also want to work on providing a kind of like a nonprofit organization to where minorities have access to the information that they don't have access to, due to whatever gaps and blockades that they have due to the systematic racism that we face in our country. So that's one of my biggest aspirations. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. You have a lot to cover.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so those are the AB Tech students that we have on our panel this evening. And next we're going to move to the Head Start teachers. So Molly Nix, you are next up on the list.
Hey, I'm Molly. I have actually been in the school longer than I would like to admit. I started off in 2008, brand new in the early childhood field, just happened by chance. So I went to get my credentials, and then I went on to get my associate. Took a couple years off, and then when I started with Head Start, they encouraged me to go back to school to get my bachelor's, and so I just recently finished with my bachelor's. My intention was to do the RAUC program, but I graduated in December and they ended it in June. So I'm now going to continue going to get my licensure, but I'm currently a lead teacher in a Head Start classroom. And aspirations are tricky because I'm really happy where I'm at right now. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy working with kids that are at risk, and I like being that safe haven for them and giving them, somewhere, a trusted place, somewhere that they can feel safe and loved and cared for. So I don't really know. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Although Zach said adventure education, and that sounds really cool too. So I don't, maybe I'll look into that. But I think for now, I'm just happy where I'm at and thankful to be there. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up either. Okay, next we have Taylor.
Hi, my name is Taylor Robinson. I currently work at Leicester Head Start as a teacher assistant. I'm in my 4th year of school. I started off at AB Tech for 2 years, and now I'm at Western, graduating next semester. Woohoo! So I plan to stay I'm with Community Action, and I plan to stay with them. I love the company and I love who I work with. They have definitely been very good mentors for me, and so I plan to stay with them and learn from them and hopefully be one of those veteran teachers that I can help upcoming teachers. And so yeah, that's what I plan to do. I started out in an elementary school, and I do plan to maybe go back to kindergarten. 1st grade has my heart. But as of right now, I love where I'm at and I love Head Start. So.
Thank you. Okay, do we have Dorothy White on our call with us? I know someone just joined, but I don't. I see it's
can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dorothy White, and I am currently working at Head Start Episcopal Center. It's the love of my life, should I say, because I've been working in this field for over 30 years. I started when I was 16 at a little church out in Black Mountain, North Carolina. I started out then. So I've been with Head Start for over 10 years. with early Head Start many years ago. And my career aspiration is to continue to refine my gifts and skills that I have in that classroom. I love being there for the children. I love being there for the children's families. It's my heart, my goal, it's my aspiration is just to continue that and to just seeing myself and just being a mentor for other teachers, just being there to be supportive of our of the camaraderie of the teaching staff that we have. And I feel like I get all the support that I need where I'm at right now, and I love it. And I look forward to many years of working in the classroom and being supportive to the families and the staff that I work with. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's great to hear about mentorship too. That was one of the things that this committee was really interested in learning more about. So thanks for flagging that.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Peace students. So I'm going to call on Katie next.
Hi there. My name is Kitty Horman, and let's see, I am currently working in the ECE field. I'm working at the Early Head Start program at Verner Central or Verner East. And I love it. This is the first year I've been back to Head Start. Previous years I was in private pay. But before that, I lived in Illinois and I worked in a crisis nursery facility with high-risk families and children, and also a Head Start program. So it's really good to be back in Head Start. I feel it's just a different purpose, and you just feel more fulfilled at the end of the day. But yeah, I've been in this field for 25 years. I love it. I'm in the Peace program, should be graduating in spring 2021. I'm writing my thesis about mentor teaching and its effectiveness on teacher job satisfaction and teacher retention. So mentorship is a big thing for me too. And in 10 years, like I'll be 56. And yeah, so I don't know. I would really like to mentor teachers in our field to keep our profession going and keep teachers inspired and engaged, because I want to hear more teachers say, I've been doing this for 25 years. So I think that's it, right? Was there more questions?
I think you covered it. That's great. Great to have a veteran teacher among us too. All right.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so. Do we have
Hello?
Krista?
Is this on?
Do we have Krista on the
Do I
call?
just talk to myself?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Krista.
Hello?
So hi, my name is Krista Maney. I'm 24 years old,
Is it
and
working?
I'm currently employed over at the Donald S. Collins Early Learning Center. We were previously known as the Children Friends in Swanoa, but we had currently moved to up in Black Mountain. I am also the lead preschool teacher now. I've been doing it for a couple months, but I've also had the chance and the opportunity to work in like the infant and the waddler room, and even a couple times in the 3-year-old room. So I've been a little bit all over the place. But my college life actually started back when I was a sophomore in high school. I took a couple classes in my high school yeah, in my high school, and then transferred over into actual AB Tech. And I then also graduated with my associates in 2016. I then made the decision personally that I wasn't going to be going back to college, but I happened to be able to work over at Verner East. And I was also offered the opportunity to go back and further my education to get my bachelor's degree at Warren Wilson. Um, little did I know a year later that I was also getting bigger and I had a baby and stuff. So that was bad timing for me, but it's okay. So it was fine. So in all, my school years has been around 6 years of college. My aspirations, I have been about the same throughout the years, but have included more stories and opportunities from the children I've included in my life. I've stood it by my goal and even my students by memorizing my job to always keep them safe. But my thing is, if I could help and guide a child in the path for learning, developing, then I've done my job. In 10 years, where do I see myself? Well, I'm only 24, so who knows? Hopefully it's not another baby, but who knows? But my hope is to still be a teacher, a person that that a child can come to for help, be a guider, a leader. I've been through changes this past few years, becoming a mother and changing jobs and positions. However, my passion with the children will always stay the same. My family and friends have been the ones to help me. Monty and Katie, I knew Katie from Verner. I did not know Monty. However, they've become my best friends. They've helped me through a lot as a mom, for sure. So, but Maura overall, if I didn't cross paths with her, I wouldn't have this opportunity. And now it's kind of gave me a chance to prove to me, myself, and my daughter that we can't give up and stuff. So that's really been a big thing. So other than that, I have been overwhelmed in certain situations, but they've kind of pushed me along and kind of got me through it. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Krista.
You're welcome.
Okay, last but not least, we have Monty.
Hi, my name is Monty Wright, and currently I am the director of Collins Early Learning Center. I'm in the final stretch of my bachelor's degree from Warren Wilson, so we'll graduate in May 2021. I have been in the field about 10 years. I've been with Collins Center, formerly Children and Friends, for about almost 10 years. My aspirations are just helping children and families in need. We do have a lot of at-risk children in the center, and those are the ones that really touch your hearts and the ones that really need the help. As far as 10 years from now, I really see myself reaching out more to find more resources, or maybe creating a whole resource list for families that are at risk, and especially children that are dealing with trauma, whether that's, the financial instability with families, or actual, emotional trauma or physical trauma. I just think that's something that's very important and maybe overlooked a lot of times. So that's something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. And that is me.
Thank you, Monty, and thank you, everyone, for your introductions and for giving us a little bit of an insight into who you are and where you are going. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary now, and she's going to ask a couple of more deep questions for you to consider.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. Thank you, everyone, for your introductions and your sharing. The first question that we're going to dive into, and I know Zoom is kind of a weird environment to do this. We're really just going to take volunteers to answer these questions. So just jump in and we'll navigate that together the best that we can to make sure everyone has their time to talk. And we're going to spend about 15 minutes or so with these questions. So the very first one is, what has helped you get to this current point in your work and your education? And I don't know if if you want to just raise your voice and speak out, or we can somehow try to raise our hands or something. I'm not sure the best way to do it.
I'll go.
Awesome. Thanks, Molly.
I started off on a little bit of a different path. I got pregnant with my first child young. I was 17, and so I dropped out of school. And so then 3 kids later, a few years later, when I decided I wanted to go back to school, I was starting off behind. And I obviously wasn't loaded. So I had to use financial aid and help from work and things like that. And so not only did I go back and get my high school diploma, but I've also gotten my bachelor's, and my kids are teenagers now. And I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty proud to show them that, even though I did things kind of backwards, that I got there and that I didn't give up. And I'm proud of the example I set. And with 3 kids, I needed all the help that I could get. So like with Head Start, having paid time off to do my schoolwork was huge. Having help financially was huge. I mean, the books alone cost so much. And then, of course, there were other programs along the way, like Teach and Wages, that, I mean, I could not, none of it would have been possible without the help from those things.
Thanks, Molly.
I'll go next.
Great.
A few things that have helped me get to the point in my career that I am at. One would definitely be my director, Susan Engel. She was a godsend. She also had to step down due to COVID. But having a mentor who literally took me under my wing and guided me through literally everything early childhood education was life-changing. From dealing with the teen parents and those experiences and the trials and tribulations that comes with helping and working with teens, and to all of the licensing and sanitation and all the administrative side of things. I've learned so much in the last 4 years than I could have ever imagined learning. Also, just family support. And the support of my husband. We are also new to Asheville. We moved here a couple of years ago. So just Buncombe County Partnership was definitely something that I reached out to, and taking the trainings there definitely helped me know different resources that were available in the community to the children, to help the children that I was teaching and learning. Wages, Teach. I couldn't pay for school without either one of those. And childcare subsidy definitely was a big thing. Having 2 children at 26, childcare can be very expensive. So having access to childcare subsidy I couldn't be doing what I'd be doing without it.
Thank you, Sandra.
I'll go. I think a couple of things that have got me to where I am now would be Head Start, just like Molly said, like the financial stability that they gave me to be able to go to school was so helpful. And I really don't know how I would have done it without them. And the Teach and the wages and the time paid to take off and be able to do your homework is a godsend. And I can say my supervisor, Monica McLeod, I was not sure where I wanted to go with my life and what I wanted to do in my education. And I had spoke to her. I was a friend of her daughter's, and I was actually working as a CNA at the hospital. And I told her, I was like, this isn't for me, but I'm just not sure what else to do. And she was like, well, how do you feel about working in Head Start? I was like, I mean, we can give it a shot. And I fell in love with it ever since. And so if it wasn't for her taking me under her wing and guiding out this whole process through AB Tech and through Western, really giving me advice at which classes I should take and how to go about each class, each semester, I don't know how I would have got through it all.
Thanks, Taylor. Anyone else for our first question? If not, we can move on to our next one.
Yeah, just really.
Go ahead. You're good.
Just really quickly, like Taylor, I showed up in Jennifer's office, Jennifer Bolivar's office, and I had no idea really what I wanted to do or where to go. I just kind of knew that I wanted to have something that was more stable than living in the woods for 8 days at a time. And she sat down with me and we talked for about a half hour, and being able to like leave that and be like, you know what, I can do this, and I'm going to go through and get my early childhood education certificate and go from there. And I've just been on that mantra of I can do this, and I'm just putting everything I have into it. So yeah, that's how I'm getting through it.
Thanks, Zach. Okay.
I'll answer unless we need to move on.
No, go right ahead.
I would say that the thing that has gotten me to where I am, part of my wife and my mother, who both really believe in me and are very supportive and have helped me a lot. But I actually got into teaching because I had a really amazing experience in a Waldorf school when I was in preschool and kindergarten and first grade. Down the street from that school, and I graduated high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I went to a fundraiser fair that they were having, and I left a note in the mailbox of my preschool teacher. Remember me, but I think I want to be a teacher, and will you help me up? And she hired me to be her assistant and taught me all about teaching. And I worked at that school for a while, at me up to go into the program that I just finished, and wrote me really amazing recommendations when I moved to Asheville that helped me get a job when I got here. And the school that I was working at had continuing education for part of my program. And yeah, really mentorship has been huge for me.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to segue into kind of the flip side of that first question and consider what supports do you wish you had, or what have been some barriers that you've experienced?
I can go. So, as a teacher and a student, there were many times where I did feel overwhelmed by schoolwork and the teacher classroom work. Also, with that being on added, and becoming a mother, it was tough. I know I didn't, like I said, best life or time for life at the best time. However, it changed my whole view as a teacher and also as just an individual. I believe Mara, Katie, and Monty were there in times when I needed someone to vent and to also to help push past this. But if I could give any advice to the new crew or whoever comes up next, planning and setting some personal time were two of the big keys I wish I started out with. Some of the barriers that I had ran into is balancing time between family, work, and school. Also, I do believe personal health has been a barrier. That's what I'm doing my capstone on, which is about postpartum depression. But also, I do believe, like I said, personal health was a barrier of reminding myself why I'm here and what I'm doing to help other children entering into the classrooms. So with these skills and education I've gained in the past years, I definitely believe I've kind of enhanced that into my classroom, but also my family too. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll go again.
Great. Thanks, Wanda.
No problem. One of the biggest barriers that I came across as a lead teacher was lack of resources. Dealing with teen parents. I mean, I was dealing with girls from 13 to 16 who are trying to get their diplomas. They had nothing. Diapers, wipes, bottles. I mean, they had no clue of what they were doing, how to get materials, what resources to reach out to. So coming in and having to gather things and figure out where to get things from, funding wise, and just, from what I had, from things from I had from my children and pulling from the community, that was definitely a barrier that I faced that I wasn't expecting to face. Like the previous speaker said, time was another big thing. I'm a full-time student, 18 hours, taking 18 hours of credit work, a lead teacher, and a full-time mom. That there's like having a balance between that. It was definitely, something that I struggled with personally, and I know a lot of other people have struggled with as well. In regards to like getting to class, having, AB Tech has been really good with providing the online courses, and being very, Jennifer and Tamara were very understanding when I did have anything come up with my children, because we're out here by ourselves. But, having that balance of time, and being able to plan for my students the next day, or whatever coursework I had, or whatever family stuff I had going on, was definitely a struggle. And other than that, funding, like I said, it's just, that's all the way across the board in any child care facility you'll have, but that was another big barrier as well.
Thank you, Sandra. Anyone else care to speak about supports you wish you had had or barriers? I have to say, it blows my mind that you are able to accomplish as much full-time motherhood, full-time work, full-time school. That's just, it's amazing. I'm amazed every day by it's so cute.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been a struggle. It's been one of my biggest adversities. I do everything that I do because of my children. But then at the same time, everybody has that mom guilt, or a personal guilt, and when you feel like you're giving more in one area and not, having the ability to balance it in others as well.
Okay, we do want to spend some time speaking with Jennifer and Maura on this call, but if anyone has something else that they want to share about supports that they wish that they had had or barriers that they've encountered, please share at this point. We have a couple more minutes before we have to shift off. I'm gonna wait.
I'll share. One, I have to echo what everyone else has said about just time, being a full-time student and a full-time teacher. And I'm not a mother, but I was recently diagnosed with a genetic disorder that has been impacting my health and like my energy level for my entire life, but I didn't really know what was going on. Like I just at first didn't even know that the way that I was experiencing how tired I was and how hard it was for me was not just how tired everyone felt when other people said they were feeling tired. But one thing that I've been really struggling with that I wish I had more like of clear resources for is like, how do you get, like, what are accommodations when you work with young children and you have physical disabilities, and they're like, I have complicated health problems that don't fit neatly into getting like categorized as having a disability, but like, what does it even look like? My job is really tiring, but I love it. But what would it even mean to have accommodations? Like, how do you do what I do if you have to sit down all the time? And there's not really any good answers that I've found yet. And there's like, I haven't encountered in anywhere that I've worked anyone working above me in the organization who has really any useful background or any idea or like training in dealing with reasonable accommodation. So that would be things that I would need. And I can echo pretty much, I think, a lot of the things a lot of people will say, but that's my unique bit that I think is important
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Caroline, I think time-wise, we probably need to shift over to our faculty that are present.
I think so. So Jennifer and Maura, thank you for joining us this evening, and for pulling together this panel of great professionals for us to learn from. We just wanted to ask you on the call, in your experience, since you've had so many students, what's been your experience around student supports and barriers?
I'll start. Having been doing this, I've been at AB Tech 7 years in the chair position and previously served in the education outreach position. I find that students who want to be successful will be successful, regardless of what barriers they face, what the obstacles they come up against. They will be successful if that's what they want. In terms of the challenges that they face, I think some of our issues with not having pre-service education requirements influences student motivation. The students who are on this call are students who want to do better. They want to improve. They want to get an education. They want to learn more about their field. They are intrinsically motivated. The students who come, well, my boss says I have to take a class in order to get vacation time or get paid holidays or keep my job, their motivation is often different. So it's us trying to find a method of connecting them with the material in ways that that motivation shifts from extrinsic to intrinsic. And the other piece of it is there are so many challenges within our program that students have faced. I sat down this afternoon to kind of think about it, and I made a list, and I looked at this list again, and our students have overcome some incredibly challenging things. I've had students dealing with violence impacting the family, whether it be domestic violence or other violence, divorce, separation, child custody battles, finance. Our students tonight have said financial hardships, death in life. Krista has shared her bringing life into the world. I've had students whose spouses have passed, or parents, or siblings, you name it. Health issues. I've had students who have had their own cancer diagnosis, other serious health issues happening. And then one of the biggest, and I heard it here from everybody that was talking, was the multiple responsibilities of family, of jobs. You know, maybe it's not just their children, maybe they have aging parents or siblings that they help to take care of. Those are some of the challenges. But in all honesty, the students who want to be successful are successful. I kind of jotted down, I keep a list of students who have gone on, and Krista is among those, and others on this call are among those that have left AB Tech and gone on further. I have 4 students that were accepted into graduate school this year. So, you know, they are going on, they are doing things. One of those students, you know, she has overcome so many adversities. She came up through the foster care system, and she was the graduation speaker at Western Carolina's graduation in December. She started graduate school this summer. More than a dozen of students have gone on for bachelor's degrees, and so they're doing it. Despite all of the challenges they're facing, they are being successful. Once they either come and are saying, I want this, or we get them connected to the content in a way that they're like, ooh, I do want this. It's not just because my job says I have to have it. So it's finding that seed inside that sparks their interest in continuing and persevering. But honestly, if a student is in the program and they want to be in the program, they're going to be successful. I know Tamara and I both, and our 2 adjunct faculty are both very supportive and understanding, and if students communicate with us, we're going to work to get them through a semester. And COVID has done a great deal of that. We've worked on a number of levels with a variety of students. And I think that's kind of the key is we're fortunate being a relatively small department that we do have personal relationships with our students. And you reached out to both Tamara and I, and immediately we had a list of students in our head who we thought would be great for this panel. And look, here they all are. So I'm appreciative that they have been willing to give of their evening to come, but that's really, there are loads of challenges, and we connect them with resources through the college every chance we get. Tamara and I, for a long time, we don't now because we're not in the office, but for a long time, we had our own food pantry in our department so that if a student came to class hungry, we could feed them. If they didn't have food to go home to, we could send them away with food. And that was pretty much funded out of our paychecks just because we knew that you cannot reach Bloom's if you don't have Maslow's met.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Maura, how about you?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I keep hearing is the amount of, I think Nechoma spoke of her health and well-being, and I know Krista spoke of her health and well-being. I think we're here to provide care for young children, and if we don't have the capacity to be fully present, it impacts how we provide care for children. And I think that always is at the back of my mind as to how are we working with students. I disagree with Jennifer a little bit in terms of if people want to be successful, because I know that there's institutional barriers, institutional racism for one, that impacts. We might have students who truly genuinely want to be successful. However, they have navigated an education system that is far different than I have navigated. And I see Sandra nodding her head. I think we have to be open to recognizing the models of education that we're used to as white middle-class individuals, or I'm speaking for myself. I've been extremely fortunate, and I have to be able to navigate and work with a wider variety. I mean, I think one of the county's efforts is to increase the diversity of our childcare workforce. The only way we're going to do that is by doing outreach and really getting to the bottom of what is a barrier. What might be a barrier for me is going to be very different than what might be a barrier for Zach or for Molly. And so that's part of that outreach, and connecting with individuals is going to be really critical to find out, because I think it's not a collective whole. What we need an individual, and everybody's talked about the need for a mentor, or how important that was in their career aspirations. And I think once you have that individual connection with a mentor, then you can kind of get to, okay, this is a barrier for you right now. How do we release that barrier? How do we minimize that barrier so that you can go to the next step and feel confident and comfortable, and still be able to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your family, juggling babies sitting on your lap while you're taking classes, and be able to take care of people's children the next day.
Thank you, Maura. Thank you for lifting up those points. So we only have a few more minutes left in our time together, and I really appreciate everyone's being here and openly sharing their experiences. And it's been very helpful for us as a committee to hear the similarities in what you've shared tonight. We have just a few minutes for questions and answer time. So I'm going to open it up to the whole group to pose questions. If you are not as comfortable speaking and you would like to put your question in the chat, please go ahead and do that, and we'll read it out for you. Otherwise, we will just open up the floor and have your questions.
I have a question. I've done a lot of talking. I'm sorry. As far as like resources go, I know Buncombe County Partnership has been a good resource for me as a teacher and as an educator. But as far as like community outreach and whatnot, I know of a lot of families who are needing resources as far as like information, and not necessarily like physical things, but it just they lack the information that they need to take to effectively and take care of their children that they aren't getting from their healthcare providers or wherever their child is seeking childcare. Do you guys have any resources? Are y'all doing any? I know it's tough with COVID and everything, but are you doing any online classes or courses for families or anything like that?
We are. We're doing a lot of online for early educators, but we are doing some Reconnect for Resilience 2-day trainings that are free for families right now. There's information on our website. Families can sign up for that. And we do have a limited number of tablets that are free for families if they need help in accessing online supports and internet. There are also listening circles that Resources for Resilience are putting on. Those are free and they're happening through December. On our website, we have a COVID section that's new, but there are a lot of resources there for families. And we have been relying a lot on 211 to provide information to the community. But we are always looking for suggestions for how to make community resources more available to families and how to get them out there. So if you do have suggestions, anyone on this call for what might help you help your families, we would love to hear those.
Are you guys on Instagram?
We are, yes.
Okay, I was gonna suggest like doing like little like memes and stuff, like little flyers and stuff like that, because that's how I have an Instagram page, and that's how I do a lot of things with my teens, is via Instagram and social media, because that's what reaches the younger generation nowadays.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and Snapchat too, I hear. Okay, thanks for that. I will pass that along to our social media person.
Hey, Caroline, I was thinking that this could be an opportunity to talk about programming that's going to be coming out of the partnership, the Circle of Security groups. Could you just share a snippet about that?
Yeah, so the partnership has received a couple of private grants to start Circle of Security Parenting. It is going to be an 8-week parenting program. We'll probably start it online via Zoom since we're not meeting in person. And that will probably begin in January. We're having a staff person trained in November. And then we'll be running those in the winter and the spring, and they will be free. Once we do get back to anything in person, we'll be holding those sessions with childcare and food available. And those will probably be posted on our training calendar on Buncombe Partnership for Children's website. So that is a resource that you could pass along to families in the coming months. Did I miss anything, Amy?
No, I think that covers it. But I did have a question for folks. I heard people talking about the value of the TEACH program and wages, helping provide some financial support while you're pursuing your education. And at the partnership, we've been talking a lot and focusing on the concern around low wages for early educators and advocating for greater compensation. So knowing that those resources kind of helped you get through school, just wondering how much of your concern about staying in the field is based on compensation and benefit challenges.
I'm about to go to classes I put in the chat, but I would say that compensation and benefits is probably the biggest area of challenge and like one of the biggest deciders in where I will work and where I'm looking for a job rather than necessarily other things about the program. It's very much about trying to seek out what are the schools that will value what we do highest. which is unfortunate because there are places that I would like to be. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much, everyone. I need to go now.
I would definitely say that as well, that pay and benefits are like top tier for me, just as a mother to be in general. It's one of the reasons that I had to step away from the center that I was at. They just didn't have the funding to pay us what we needed, and you know, for my husband to be able to stay home with our children, it was like up in the air with us. And it's one of the reasons that I'm looking into in-home care, because I can charge what I need to get by, you know, but also, you know, help families on a need basis. So it's not as, you know, I'm not as constrained to what somebody can afford to pay me. I can charge what I'm worth.
Thank you for your interest in continuing on and figuring out a way to do it that helps support you and your family while providing really important care. And hopefully you're aware of the resources that we have at the Partnership for Family Childcare Home Startup. I'm really inspired to hear from all of you. Thank you.
Well, Mary, I think I'm going to turn it over to you to close it out. I think we have just one more minute left.
Okay, thanks, Caroline. And yeah, I just want to say thank you again to everyone for joining us this evening and for your commitment to your learning and to the field. And, you know, you're incredible and essential. And the feedback that you've given us tonight is really wonderful and will be very helpful to us as we move forward with planning. I'm getting kind of choked up when I, it's very inspirational and truly been a pleasure to meet all of you. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for your time. I know you're all busy, super busy. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everyone. I enjoyed being here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you, everybody. I have to say a special thank you to Miss Katie, who was Mason's teacher at Verner when he was 4, and he's in 6th grade now. So that's why I called Mason in here to like, look.
You know, I still remember all the names of the kids from the very first class that I taught in 1989. Wow. They'll stay with you, but
yes.
It's so crazy because in my head, he's still 4 years old.
I will
then
fully
you see pictures and, you know, video, and it's, wow.
It has been very surreal.
I feel to have been a part of his education.
For me, it has been very surreal that I have enrolled students who I had in more at 4 back in the day in the AB Tech Early Childhood Program. I won't lie, that one was rough. Yeah. So yeah, that one, it is full circle and it's cool, but I'm not prepared for that. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Bye, Caroline.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.